It's another early morning for Lenape High School math teacher Tom Tamburello. However, today won't be a day filled with formulas, proofs, and equations. Tom is headed to the district's training office in Chemung, where he will instruct other educators on how to effectively reach their students as part of the district's professional development program, Research for Better Teaching.
Should be a good day. It's always a nerve-wracking day. I didn't get much sleep last night. It's always kind of exciting, and you know, your nerves are going a little bit when you have to be up in front of your colleagues, but hopefully things will go well. I like to get here early because it takes a lot to get set up for this day. This is an activity you'll see later. They're actually going to be roaming around the room and talking to each other about the routines that they have in their classroom and so on and so forth. So this is a little structure to help them do that. I just can't wait to get the day going. I hate the nervousness before. Once we get some momentum going, should be a good day.
While Tom and several other teachers from around the district will spend the day developing their skills, it's business as usual for most of the faculty, including Lenape High School science teacher Bill Seng. After unpacking and opening up his classroom, it's out to the hallways, where there's just enough time to say hello and make sure students are heading to homeroom before getting ready for the day's classes.
I've got a number of things to kind of prep for the day. First is I want to make a list of all the items that will be discussed in my environmental earth science class. Mostly it's going to be micromanaging the final projects, walking around making sure that students are on task. But I like the students to know what it is that I'm doing as I'm circulating around the room. So real quick bulleted lists so they know what their expectations are for this particular day. Additionally, for my science skills or integrated science class, yesterday we experimented with solar ovens, so I want to make a short slideshow with Keynote that shows some of the images from yesterday and will trigger some class discussions about how we could improve upon what we had already done. And also, I need to make some photocopies for review because exam week is coming up and we want to make sure that the students have something to review from.
At Shawnee High School, communication technology teacher Brian Pistone makes his way to the Shawnee television studio, where he will assist a large group of students in preparing for the school's televised morning show.
Good morning. We run a morning show every morning live, and the students get practice performing in front of a camera, in front of a live audience, a large audience. Every student in the school sees it. Do you have a Beads for Life announcement sold during lunches? We use a web service, Twitter, to post announcements, so all of the teachers send in the events that are upcoming to a website, and then we pull all of that information all off of the website. Mr. Latini has some more ideas on that like segment. Are you guys gonna go try to get anything?
Maybe 6, 7.
Okay. Back to the script. The script is written every morning starting at 6:30. A student comes in and does it, and we try to double check it and go over it before showtime. Can you also prepare a scroll for Battle of the Bands tonight? Promote it. Battle of the Bands tonight. This is tomorrow. Yeah. Can we start sending out to the school? Can you kill that?
Yeah. Well, hang on. Don't do it now. Don't do it now.
I'm not. Can you handle that?
Mic check.
All right, plug them in. Make sure we got audio again today. Zoom out, tilt down a little bit. Tilt down. Eyes on the third. Keep going. Right there. We're gonna have to move that later today. Wait, are we doing sports today?
Wayne's saying there's no mic. You should one right there. I don't know.
Can we get a check on this third mic, please?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, good.
Love coming in like
All right, there's our cue. Quiet, please.
Good morning and welcome to the Shawnee Wake Up. It's Thursday, April 28th, and it's an E-Day. I'm Brittany German.
And I'm Gianna Liuzzi. Let's see what's in store this week at Shawnee. Today at 6 o'clock is the Battle of the Bands competition. Be sure to go and see your favorite Shawnee band.
Gianna, stick with that camera until it cuts, okay? Camera 2, pan left. Whoever's on I think that's camera 2.
Good morning, Shawnee. It's what you want to do with sports today after school. Boys basketball, baseball, and girls softball are home against Ben Saucon. Golf will be going against Lenape away. Girls track is away at the Rowland Relays at Haddon Township High School. Thanks for watching. I'm Win Launcher, back to the news desk.
Beads for Life are being sold during lunches. All of the proceeds go to the women of Uganda who make jewelry. Prices start at $5. Please support this worthy cause.
Please stop by the FCCLA bake sale after school today. All proceeds support the students attending the National FCCLA Conference in July. Well, that's all for today. Be sure to stay tuned every Monday through Thursday for the Shawnee Wake Up and every Friday for the Renegade Morning Show. Remember to go to Battle of the Bands tonight at 6 p.m. I'm Brittany German.
And I'm Gianna Liuzzi.
Have a good day.
Good job, guys. All right, let's get the cameras off. Strike the lights, please. This morning went very well. We ran a professional show. We try to do it perfect every day, and the sheer number of shows, there's a lot of practice that our students have, and that's why I think that if you put them on any production set, they would be extremely helpful, if not the go-to person on the set. So it's rewarding. The students have something fun to look forward to every morning. I enjoy it. It gets you up and moving in a way that is professional and important to the school.
All right, so good morning, everybody. How is everybody on this final day? Happy to be here? What we're going to do is we're going to organize you into tables, of course. Hopefully you didn't get too comfortable. You have the names of islands on your index cards. You are not going to be sitting with people that have the same island as you. You're going to be sitting with people that have the same color written on the index card. So if you could arrange yourselves, all the greens at a table, all the reds at a table, etc., so we can get different groups.
Today is the final installment of a 6-day course, which examines the obstacles that can prevent student achievement in the classroom. Tom Tamburello and Cherokee High School special education teacher Eileen Forbes are co-instructors for the course, and today's lesson is especially important. Tom is being observed by Director of Training Marcia Booth, and if the lesson goes well, he can earn his trainer certification and be able to teach the course on his own.
It's a very interesting process being observed, because to become a trainer you have to do 3 things. You have to take the course, which I did 2 years ago. You have to watch the course being taught, which I did a year ago, and then you have to teach the course and be observed. And it's Marcia's great, and she will give us such feedback at the end of today's session that when we do this next time, it'll be 100 times better than it is today. Believe it or not, there is a connection to this community builder and this whole course. There really is. And we know it's 10 of 8 in the morning, but it would be fascinating to see if anybody can see any connections between being stuck on a deserted island and what investigating obstacles to achievement is all about.
Everybody has a choice that they can either see themselves as marooned together, or they can see themselves as surviving and thriving together. And that if you're choosing to see yourself as surviving, then you need to have all of your basic needs, your social needs, your physical, your spiritual needs, everything all met every day. And that's and everybody brings their different tools at the same time. And either you can just survive or you can thrive. Right.
This whole course, Investigating Obstacles to Achievement, is the fact that teaching would be easy if all we had to do was show up and just teach our content, right? Life would be great. But as you know, kids bring these obstacles into the classroom, and when they hit an obstacle, where do they end up? The swamp, that's right. Being on an island is like for the kids being in a swamp, being in this swamp of academic shutdown. And then what tools do we have to use as teachers to help them get out of that swamp or prevent them from getting in that swamp in the first place, which I think a lot of the things up there were definitely hitting on. That's great. I've heard that well.
Today is National Take Your Child to Work Day, and for Brian Pistone, the television studio becomes a very popular spot for young students to see what TV production is all about.
Good morning. Comtext 2 students today will be assisting in running the television studio while the children who come in introduce our Renegade Morning Show, which airs every Friday. Why don't we head over to the studio set? So you're going to go in the back of the classroom on the painted blue floor, okay? So why don't we head back there now?
I've been here before.
Welcome back. See a lot of familiar faces from last year. Morning, morning, come on in. All right, Jay, do we have the VT5 up and running? Okay. I need audio up on set, please, so let's get, Yo, Brad. Yo, Brad. I don't know which one's which. Turn on the audio board. Okay, so we're going to do this a couple times, and on the count of 3, we're going to say, welcome to the Renegade Morning Show, okay? Is everybody ready? Yeah! Much better. Okay, so on the count of 3, welcome to the Renegade Morning Show. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Renegade Morning Show.
Okay, one more real big. So,
Welcome
on the count of 3. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Renegade Morning Show.
Excellent. Good job, guys. Round of applause. Good job. So that's going to be on our morning show tomorrow. So that'll air tomorrow morning at 7:20, and then it'll be on the website, shawneetv.com, at probably around 10, 11 o'clock. So if you want to check back on the website, you can see yourself introducing the morning show.
Following their morning show introduction, the students divide into 2 groups and enjoy some more activities around the TV studio.
A few of the children will be reading on camera, and the other children will be working in the computer lab, either with a video and photo program called Photo Booth, or I think some of them have the option, or will eventually find some games on the internet. Okay, you ready to go? So you're going to look on here. We're already recording. We've been recording the whole time. So you're just going to read it, and just warm and friendly. Start with a smile, and then whenever you're ready, you start reading. And then that should start moving for you. So look right into the camera.
Good morning and welcome to the Renegade Morning Show. It is a half day today and there will be an assembly from 9:50 to the end of the day. Be safe and have fun at the Junior Dinner Dance Studio.
Excellent. Good work. High five. Hannah, I'm going to see you as a Shawnee TV Renegade someday. You want to come on in?
As these students practice reading from the teleprompter, another group is having fun in the editing studio with a program called Photo Booth, which allows them to make some entertaining visual creations.
Whenever you're ready, go for it.
Good morning and welcome to the Renegade Morning Show. It's a half day. There will be an assembly from 9:15 to the end of the day. Be safe and have fun at the Junior Dinner Dance today.
Good work, sir. High five. Put it up.
At Lenape, during his hall duty, science teacher Bill Seng works on a short bio for a local publication that will be honoring his efforts in the classroom.
I was asked to provide a little bit of information for Suburban Family Magazine, which I was recently informed that they want to feature me as one of the 5-star teachers of the year for South Jersey.
This isn't the first time Bill has been the recipient of an award. In 2010, he was selected for the Apple Distinguished Educator Program, which recognizes innovative teachers using Apple products in their classroom to transform teaching and student learning.
I'm quite honored, very humbled, and honestly overwhelmed. It's pretty cool.
At the district's training office, Tom Tamburello and Eileen Forbes explore the issue of student anxiety and how educators can prevent it from hindering student learning.
It's an obstacle that a lot of our students are facing, okay, that students are bringing, this fear of stereotype threat with them when they come into the classroom, okay? They're afraid to have an academic identity because it doesn't fit their gender, their race, or whatever it is that they are, okay? So it is a big obstacle. So what we're going to ask you to do is You're going to have maybe 1 or 2 minutes each to discuss your answers to the first 2 homework questions. And then as a table, okay, you're going to go to one of the easels and you're going to list 3 absolute drop-dead points from the article. What your table thinks are the 3 biggest ideas from this article and some visual to actually represent the article as well. As soon as you're ready to chart, grab an easel and a pen and you can start doing that. Okay? It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with for the drop-dead points.
Okay, Marcia's drop-dead points. Okay.
Did she give them to you?
I asked her what
Okay.
they were. The first one is that in order to be
An ally, you have to be from the
dominant group.
Good.
That's the big one.
That's one. I don't what else, because I thought this was big. Not maybe this, but students need to see what allies are, right? If you don't know what an ally is, you can't become one. And so how does this impact us as educators is that we have to be allies for these kids that are discriminated against, not succeeding because of X, because of whatever the case may be. Like that was the teaching connection that I saw in this article, that we need to teach kids what an ally is by being an ally.
Modeling being an ally,
Yes.
but then you also have to be aware of what the minority groups are, and it goes beyond racism.
Right.
It goes beyond race.
Right.
You know, every faction, you have
The Goths, the
your
jocks,
Goths, your classified
whatever. Right.
kids,
Right.
whoever is in the minority.
Some of these roles, normally, at least from my perspective, people who are standing up for the oppressed are normally affected some way, shape, or form. They were talking about the parents, the parents of the gay, lesbian, transgender group. Well, they're affected by it. Maybe not personally themselves, but so I mean,
I guess
I'm
the main
more,
point was like you don't have to have that experience. Like,
Right.
if you're part of a dominant group, you can still have
stand
an
up.
effect and stand up. Dominant.
I've got it.
Wait, dominant.
OUS. And let your light.
Okay, perfectionists, it's time.
We're trying to put as much symbolism in it as possible.
All right, we're ready?
Now, what we have here in the lighthouse is the dominant ally. Point number 2 from the reading. And the dominant ally who looks out over the oppressed and the oppressors, he is providing that hope, that beacon for the oppressed against the oppressors. And that's all I got.
So who are the oppressors? Who's in the ocean?
Oppressors is the waves here trying to take our little man in the boat out.
Right.
And the rocks on the shore. I know it's hard. It's no saison, but.
So, all right, we'll wait until the end, and then I'll ask questions out there. We'll go through them all.
Points is that you have to let your life be your teaching. The life of the lighthouse, the dominant ally, the life of the lighthouse is the life, and it is his teaching to provide, to come to the aid of the oppressed. And use his dominance to be whatever. And the consistently conscious, because the light in the lighthouse, 360 degrees, is always shining, always conscious of what is going on around that ally and providing that whatever stability.
Yeah, I like that 360-degree concept. I think that's really neat because it's happening all the time, right? If you're a dominant ally, you're letting your life be your teaching, as you said. So. Okay.
Being an ally isn't, and that's where this consistently conscious piece comes in. The part about being an ally for change is that it isn't just when you're having your club meeting. It isn't just when you're in school. It's about all the time. No matter where we are, and it's kind of how you speak. It's the tone that you set in your classroom. That whoever you're being the ally for, it's going on 24/7.
If you want students to become allies for their peers, or we want to become allies for our students, we have to have a concept of what ally actually is. And so giving them an example like that, or model, can really help our students to become allies for one another. So.
Early in the article on page 119, they actually define what the ally is. And it is one of the biggest points because an ally has to be a member. You can't be an ally unless you're a member of the dominant group. No change takes place unless you have members of the dominant group as allies. That's the only way it works. So we have to be really willing to recognize, are we a member of the dominant group? And think outside of ourselves. It may be a concept that we're not even really comfortable with, or that we haven't thought about. I thought, Tom, last class you had this really brilliant comment. Sometimes we don't even know what we don't know, and always really being aware of what our position is on given issues and having to look hard sometimes. But we can't be allies for change unless we're actually members of that dominant group that are going to stand up, be role models.
All right, table 3. Ooh, a scatter plot. We have a data display there.
Who's the data guy? Was it you, Ryan?
All right, well, generally speaking, the more commitment you have, the more self-sacrifice you're going to make to whatever you're trying to influence, you're technically going to have a higher impact. But that's not always the case, because there are some people that just have a louder voice or have a stronger presence, whether it's a celebrity fighting for a cause. There's a reason why celebrities are asked to support certain movements or be on the cover of certain, say, advocate magazines, because they just have a bigger audience. But the key thing is, and it comes that no such thing a perfect ally, is whether it's a strong impact or maybe not as big, it's still positive. All of these points are positive in breaking down stereotypes. So that was kind of our little picture.
Yeah, when you look at all those points, just a reflective question for all of us is like, which data point would represent you? And the good news for us is obviously we are in front of hundreds of students every day in our classes, our offices, our clubs, etc. So even though we might not be famous, we can have a very big impact on our kids, and so I like that. I'm a math guy. I like that.
Before beginning work on a special Mother's Day present, Brian Pistone's Communication Technology 1 students will review entries they submitted yesterday for consideration in the school district's annual awards show for television production.
Today you'll see the Comtech 1 students voting on what their favorite educational service announcement was, and that winner will receive an award, a prize at the Lenape District Television Awards this year. Alrighty guys, welcome back. Good job yesterday on getting your videos uploaded that you would like to submit. We're going to go over that quickly on the voting process. We use a variety of websites in our communication technology program. We have a main website for classwork, very similar to Wikipedia, where there's a topic and information about the topic on the page, and students also have their own pages on that website where they can place all of their video and audio that they create in class as an online portfolio. When students submit their media to that wiki page, we have all the students in the class watch each other's and leave feedback on their page right there. So then they would be able to take any suggestions that were made by different perspectives in the class and improve the quality of their work. So you go into the link and it's going to give you the description of what the category requirements are. You're looking for a clear presentation of the message, clean, effective editing, effective use of audio, music, voiceover, natural sound, creativity, and overall presentation. Over the past 2 weeks, we've introduced the topic and shown some examples, and then had the students produce in 1 week the video and audio messages that they would edit together and then put onto their website. So what I'd like you to do first is vote. So we're going to change up our objectives today. This is done. Vote on ESA. That's number 1. Number 2, everybody remember, 50 pictures due tomorrow. I'll be around to assess your pictures. If you already have them digitized, bless you, just show me that you have the files on your thumb drive or already copied over to your machine. A lot of you have already started an iMovie piecing together your Mother's Day DVD. They're learning how to scan and put images into folders and then eventually get the media, the audio and the video to a DVD, and they're going to give mom a DVD for Mother's Day. So it's a nice project for mom. 50 pictures due tomorrow. It's a 25-point grade. I'll be assessing that. I'll walk around each person in the class, say, can I see your 50 pictures, and check you off in the book. Everybody understands that, right? Your responsibility for tomorrow. And then 3, this is important, but 3, this is what you do after you finish the ESA voting. Get into the Mother's Day scanning. Yesterday, during your class period, I brought in the 3 scanner beds. So there's 1 on each wall. If you have questions, please let me know. Let's get the voting done first. So you go to the regular wiki page, not the student wiki. Go to the regular wiki page, all the way down to the bottom. You'll see voting. Watch each ESA, and then vote for your favorite. Okay? Good to go? Let's get started, guys.
While media production is a daily occurrence for Brian's communication technology students, they aren't the only ones telling a story with photos and video. At Lenape, students in Bill Seng's Earth Science class are using Google Earth to build a multimedia presentation of their own.
The Google Earth tours that we're doing is a project-based kind of learning environment where students are assigned a specific geographic location that's associated with a particular environmental issue. At, say, one table, students will be covering, say, the Gulf of Mexico oil spill that covered last year. And it's not so much of what we like to say to the students, a book report or a report on that particular area, but much more of an examination about the environmental impacts and side effects that happen because of that particular event. So it's their job to take a viewer in through the interface of Google Earth, zoom into that geographic location, pull up images of the aftermath, and then ultimately for them to propose their own solutions to the issues. And it's pretty intensive. They've got to import video, they've got to import images from the internet, and they also have to record the audio portion. Ultimately, what they're doing is they're taking a year's worth of environmental earth science knowledge and applying it to one specific environmental issue. So you guys know what you're doing then, right? You're working on scripts. If you want, you can start recording. If you haven't already done so, you want to start building your tour folder. All right, add a folder, start adding the images in there that you want to use and all of your place marks, and get that up and running. All right, so I'll be bouncing around, helping people, troubleshooting, things like that. I've established a clear guidelines, criteria for success, if you will. There are media elements, number of media elements that are in there, how creative or how in-depth they got into their particular project, how well was it produced, how good is the audio quality, and then also how relevant is their content. Show the areas where the tsunami hit hardest, show where the epicenter was offshore. You could even pull up an image of the plate boundary. So that's kind of, you're exploring this, and then also the after effects. So try and focus on the after effects, find a lot of pictures that show the damage, the destruction, some of those haunting images of the buildings that were floating in the tsunami that were on fire and things like that, all right? Additionally, one of the major components to their final tour is whether or not they're coming up with some kind of creative solution to the problem, rather than just saying that, okay, we need to reduce carbon emissions, we should stop driving. That's not a realistic kind of solution to an issue, and I try and encourage them to come up with some other alternative beyond that, not something they just grabbed out of a textbook, but some kind of original thought. That's what's really going to put them over the top and then put them into that A perspective to tell me that they are really, really thinking creatively and working hard to find solutions on their own and not just grabbing something from the internet. Right, that's fine. So it actually shows the general area, and that's the nice thing about Google Earth is that it zooms to the general geographic location. So you're looking at an overview. Then maybe what you can do is try and find some specific pictures of this basin, maybe one of the refineries or one of the oil fields where they're extracting it, and then zoom in down below. And if the pictures aren't exactly where the pictures were taken, that's okay, because the viewer's not really going to necessarily know. But so you'll zoom in and just kind of show, okay, this is what a typical refinery looks like in this particular basin. Sound good? Great. Absolutely. Robert, how are things going?
Pretty good, actually.
Pretty good.
Finishing up the organizing.
Okay. So you're a little bit behind then. All right. Okay. So, how's your script coming along? You have a script at all?
Sort of.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's crunch time. You should have a script, definitely. It is a challenge at times to motivate students, and you would think, given the multimedia bits of technology that's in front of them and the different approach to, say, textbook style learning or maybe just whiteboard style learning, where we have this infusion of technology in their hands, that they would certainly buy into it. Got to get that script going, because the final script is actually due tomorrow. So that's got to get uploaded, and the script is really what dictates how your tour goes, so you really need to have that completely hatched out, all right? At times I wonder if there are students that backlash against it because it might be a bit of a challenge and they have to step outside their realm of normal learning. So let's say that they've been accustomed to a certain classroom style for the last 8 years. They come into my classroom and suddenly things are quite different. I challenge them to use technology in ways that they're not used to, and because it's a challenge, they may just shut down. All right, stay on target there, all right, stay focused.
What we're going to ask you to do is have a conversation just for a few minutes at the table now, so that we can pinpoint a little bit more closely what groups are present in our building that need allies. All right? Just a couple of minutes. Start thinking about the different factions within our classes, within our buildings that actually need allies. You can write it down, have somebody jot it down. Right.
I mean, to be honest though, I feel like any group needs an ally. I mean, even the popular in crowd, there's somebody in there that's not happy, that has issues.
We're struggling to stay in there.
Yeah. If you have an ally with someone outside that group, then it makes it easier for them. I mean, even as teachers, if we consider ourselves an authoritative group, to have an ally, we all can know that there's at least one student that makes it easier to connect with the rest of the class or something like that. I mean, it goes both ways. I feel like you can't just pin it down on one or two groups.
Oh, no, I think there's many groups.
Like even the best dominant group can use an ally.
Okay, so Elisa's going to chart the groups, the groups that you came up with. It's going to be interesting. So we'll start by just getting one group from each table so everybody has a chance to share, and then we'll kind of fill in the gaps. So table number 3, what was a group that needs an ally that you came up with?
Well, yeah, you want to say?
What we were talking about were kind of the students that fly under the radar, and Ryan kind of termed them the John Does, the kids that don't really have a group that they belong to. They're really quiet in the classroom.
So the John Does.
That's a neat name. So these students that...
So there's nothing about them. They're just like, they exist, but there's nothing clear about them.
No connection to the school, no connection to the teacher. They just kind of show up and yeah.
And they're so afraid of participating, getting involved, like showing who they really are. Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it.
Thank you very much. All right, how about table number 1?
We kind of cheated, and we made a case that every group needs an ally. Like even the dominant groups, there's someone in that group. If you think of the popular clique or something.
Okay, so what would be one of those groups? If you had to categorize, what would be one of the groups? The jocks? Okay.
Table 6?
Is that us?
Yes.
it's less about groups, more about just this person.
Individual students?
Yeah.
But if we had to make like if we were going to do a broad brush characterization, if you had to come up with a group, because we do. You look. I don't think we can escape that we look at kids and we put them, we categorize them, or even as not, even as people.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, when I see a student who needs an ally, and I don't think about it in those terms, but I don't go, you're a member of this group.
Would there be
I don't see it like that. That's just me.
Okay. Ryan?
I think when we say the John Does and even the jocks, it comes down to someone who's afraid to show who they really are.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes down to individuals, because there are people who are, like, say you're known as a jock, like, you don't want to let people know that there might be something that would be part of the minority group that you like, whether it is sexual orientation or you're a fan of certain books or certain movies, or you're not, you know what I mean, or it's just someone who's afraid to express themselves. That's why I think they said everyone needs just someone to help them just show who they really are as a person.
Did we hit any all the tables?
No. In the groups of jocks that could be straight edge kids is what he's saying.
Right.
They're afraid.
Right.
So they're, even though they're in a dominant group, as an individual, they're not dominant because they have to pretend that they like to party and they have to pretend that they don't like Pride and Prejudice or whatever.
Okay. So we do have groups within other groups. So let's try to identify what those groups are. Okay, and given the fact that they can be members of both groups. But let's get clear about what some of them are. So we have these straight edge kids, and we have the jocks, and we have the MD kids, who maybe that would fall all under like special ed kids. All right, if we want to say that there. Did anybody have gay students, bisexual students? Okay, we could put them on the list.
I'm just trying to think of some of those groups we came up with. We had like the goths, I think, or the emo kids. I'm trying to think of some of these.
But if we're talking about kids who may be bullied, or kids who, may have issues for whatever reason. Maybe they have an issue because they're a straight edge kid. Maybe they have an issue because they're picked on because they're a goth. Maybe they have an issue because they're gay, because they're handicapped, because they're a jock, Maybe those kids, maybe some of those jocks are targeted, because they're viewed as, a dumb jock, all right? We're just trying to get to the bottom of what are some of these possible groups?
Can we become allies for individuals? Like individuality? I mean, like.
But let's look at it this way. If you can be an ally for an individual, why would you be their ally? What would be the issue that was causing you to be their ally?
What Ryan said. Because they're afraid to be themselves.
Yeah, I mean.
And why can't they be themselves is the next question. Because the majority does not accept them. And that's kind of the point here, is that if you have someone if you have a student who can't be themselves, whether it's because they're gay, they're overweight, they're a jock, they're whatever, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they lack secure, whatever it could be. The point is that if we need to step in and be allies for them, there must be a cause as to why we're stepping in the first place. We're not trying to lump kids into groups. The point is to do exactly what's happening here, is to facilitate this discussion, because we can't deny that there are individual kids that bring this stuff into the building every day, okay? And maybe they're bullied, and maybe they're made fun of, and the only way that we can affect change is to be their ally. And the only way to be the ally is we are members of that dominant group, simply by our position of being educators. We are members of a dominant group that can affect a change. So the next question is going to be, what is it that we're going to do in the schools that we can do, either individually or as a whole school, to act as allies for some of these kids?
They're students, and the people around them, they're high school kids. They don't see them as individuals. They see them in groups. And so we have to, in a sense, figure out how other kids are seeing them as well, so that we can ally with them, because we teach great kids, but not all of them are going to see them as individuals. And so we have to figure out what group they're kind of fitting into within their high school world to figure out how we can ally with them.
Marcia, were you?
If somebody's worried about whether or not another student is going to say something cruel about a group that they see themselves as a member of, all the time that they're worrying about that, their brains are not available for doing the learning that all of you are crafting so carefully around mastery objectives. And so our concern here is making the environment safe for that student to feel part of any group that they see themselves as part of, knowing that no one's going to victimize them for it, no one's going to say anything cruel about any group that they're part of, that they're free to be educated, that they can feel comfortable knowing that all of us are going to protect them from any potential onslaught. So that's really what this is about. This is not about us grouping kids. This is about our concern that kids might be, and you said it, that kids might be grouping kids. And how do we make sure that that doesn't happen in the place where we're educating everybody?
What is the implication of this concept of allies, being allies of change? What are the implications for your practice? So maybe like a half a page. This is a quiet piece because it's reflective, and then we'll do break and we'll come back and we'll move on the agenda.
This seems sort of infinite. How far do you take it? Because this could, I see this could be a full-time job.
Oh, I know.
How far do you take it to risk?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I mean, if our job is to, the way I look at it is if our job is to be teachers, our kids are not going to be receptive to what we're doing in the classroom unless, you know, we are an ally for everybody in that room. And so, I mean, you know, you can't hold that kid's hand all day and go take them to lunch and all this other stuff, but at least when they're with you in that room, they know that they've got an ally and they can, you know, even if it's just for those 41 minutes when I'm in this room, I'm safe, everybody's welcomed here, and thank gosh, and I can actually learn something because I'm not going to be too worried about, you know, all this other stuff, but, you know, oh, absolutely. Well, it is. As well as Latrice said, he comes from home a lot of time. There's a lot. I mean, we're trying to battle all these elements, and we're only one person. You've got the family life, and you've got all these other things going on.
How can 48 hours a day to just address?
If it was one kid, one or two kids, not all the kids we have to deal with. I know, but
I mean, because they're so complex.
I know. Well, we can only do what we can do, but you know, hopefully we do something and not nothing. We have to do so much more than teach. We have to teach them how to take notes. You know, teach them how to study. This stuff, everything. Very complex job. The fact of the matter is we have got to do what's best for kids, no matter what. No matter what.
The fact that they're on the cusp of adulthood too.
I know.
So
it's if all we had to do was teach, right?
Next time on We Teach.
Our students, for every 10 minutes that you're feeding them information, after 10 minutes, they're done. You've got to give them some processing time. We sit here and we fill the cup. After 10 minutes, the cup is full. And guess what? That water's got to go somewhere. And if you haven't done any processing, the water's going to go on the floor and they're going to forget it.
We constructed solar ovens, and we finally had a good day where we could go outside and test them. This one was quite effective. You know, who's A's, right? Top temperature 264, right? Nice job. It's sort of like embracing somebody for a hug. You know, you walk up to somebody, you're gonna do this. Hey, Big T, what's up? You know, try and grab going for a hug, all right? But if I went in for a hug like this, Big T, what's up? All right, it's not a very good hug, exactly.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's a serious buzz in these headsets. Hey, can any of you guys hear me in the truck? 1, 2. Can any of you guys hear me in the truck? This is Mr. Pistone. I'm gonna go check it myself.